we are a full commission. We did have to, this is before.
Would you like me to say call to order?
Yes, and then the time.
I call to order this meeting at 4 p.m. Then we motion that?
We don't need a motion that, and we would move the Pledge of Allegiance and
All right, approval of agenda at, what's that? Pledge of Allegiance. All right, may we do the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call.
Commissioner Nunez, not absent. Commissioner Valle,
Here.
Commissioner Salazar,
Present.
Commissioner Mendez.
Here.
Commissioner Fausto,
Here.
Commissioner Cobos,
Present.
Commissioner Mesa.
Here.
Commissioner Arriaga,
Here.
Commissioner Pulido.
Here.
Thank you.
Approval of agenda. At this time, the commission may announce any items being pulled from the agenda or continue to another date or request the moving of an item on the agenda.
There are no changes to the agenda.
Approval of the minutes, regular meeting minutes of November 18, 2024 of the city of Coachella Youth Advisory Commission.
Commissioner Foster. You still need to approve the agenda or motion.
I would like to motion the approval of the agenda.
I'm second the motion to approve the agenda. Approval of the minutes. Regular meeting minutes of November 18, 2024 of the City of Coachella Youth Advisory Commission.
One moment, Mr. Commissioner Foster. I still need to do an approval.
And approve,
Approve for the agenda.
and then I would have all ayes, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
All in favor for approval of the agenda?
Aye.
Thank you.
may I have approval of the minutes? May I have a first motion?
I would like to first motion the approval of the minutes.
May I have a second motion?
I second the motion.
All in favor
All in
of,
favor of the approval of the minutes? Aye.
any opposed? Motion carries.
Next subject, presentations. Presentation by City Department.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to present Economic Director Selena Jimenez, who's going to present on the Economic Development Department.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Selena Jimenez, and I'm the Director of Economic Development for the City of Coachella. First, I want to welcome and thank you for joining the commission. I actually think it's a great way to really hone your skills in public service and maybe gain some inspiration to serve in a public capacity or even to affect the change you want to see in your community. I also want to tell you that I also attended Coachella Valley High School. I was there up until my junior year, and then I had to transfer because we moved. But I was very sad to leave CV High School. It was such an exceptional institution. You know, I have just really fond memories of being there. And I think it was because before Desert Mirage and before all the other high schools that opened up, all my friends culminated there at CV High School. So it was like, oh my God, I get to see everyone, you know, that I ever grew up with. And so to leave CV High School was heartbreaking for me. So it'll always hold a very special place in my heart. So I wish you well on your journey there. And so I'm here tonight to talk about economic development and what we do in economic development. And so basically, you know, I think most people might want to know, what is economic development? And it's really just the intentional practice of improving a community's economic well-being and quality of life. It also includes a broad range of activities to retain, create, and attract high-quality jobs and to foster the growth of a resilient tax base and an inclusive economy. It is a collaborative effort involving industry, government, and a myriad of community stakeholders focused on improving a community's competitiveness. So in recent times, just to give you a little quick example of how we're growing the resilient tax base, we had Measure Y. I don't know if anyone heard about Measure Y being on the ballot here. So Measure Y was passed, and that basically was a measure that council put on the ballot, asking the residents of Coachella to vote yes, so that our transit occupancy tax would be increased from 9% that was established back in 1984 to 13%, which brings the city of Coachella up to par with all the other communities in the Coachella Valley, because the TOT tax is related to Airbnbs or short-term vacation rentals. We don't have any hotels in our city. We hope to change that very soon. But that's it affects people that come and stay here, not the people that own the Airbnbs or the residents of the community. So I'm happy to report that Measure Y did pass. So thank you, voters. And let me turn to the next slide. And so here's a fun wordle on how to describe economic development. And we are basically partnerships, you know, we're regional, retention, resources, opportunities, quality of life, jobs, development, et cetera. And some of our challenges. So basically, communities or businesses need access to land, access to skilled labor, capital, and utilities. Capital refers to money, networks and connections that increase competitiveness. And also workers need quality jobs, education and training, opportunities for advancement. And then our communities need funding for basic services, quality of life amenities, economic diversification, and resilience. Well, what does all this mean? It basically means, again, to bring it back to reality. So in recent times, since I oversee grants, we submitted grant applications to fund Rancho Las Flores Park, the expansion of Rancho Las Flores Park. So Rancho Las Flores Park will bring our first pet park, dog park, to the city. And so that's how we're increasing, or improving the quality of life for residents in the city of Coachella through those funding opportunities. We also were successful in securing a library grant to improve the old library building back there, so that we could have additional spaces for intellectual gatherings and study and all that good stuff. I never imagined that the state would fund us, but they did, because as you all know, we already have a library, but we're calling that the library annex because it is an annex to our existing library. So that is coming soon. And also through another grant funding initiative that we prepared, we are bringing workforce training and development and education. UCR Extension will be offering capacity building courses to small business entrepreneurs in the spring of next year. In our TCC, or Transformative Climate Communities grant program, we have a myriad of job training opportunities for our residents to skill up in a short amount of time in green jobs. So that's all coming in this coming year. So the role of the Economic Development Director. Well, I guess you could call me an analyst, an advocate, a visionary, a catalyst, a gap filler, and an educator. And I can also say that for the rest of my colleagues who are here as well. Ms. Maritza and Mr. Gabriel, they're also they do the same thing. And basically, we're just here to support our community, to kind of, again, bring improvements, attract, business development, attract other developments that will catalyze growth in the city of Coachella, positive growth in the city of Coachella. And so, again, our emphasis here is small business, like entrepreneurs. We want to help entrepreneurs achieve their dreams through, expedited permitting and licensing. We connect them with gap financing and even provide technical assistance. We try to retain and expand our existing business base. We try to help businesses find new sites and workers whenever we get an inquiry. We also do some recruiting when we go out to a very large conference that we attend on an annual basis, where we try to recruit, hoteliers and other businesses into the city. And then our workers get training. So we partner with businesses and workforce development organizations to design training programs for workers. So as I mentioned earlier, we do have the Center for Employment Training in Coachella that's going to be providing an electrician journey program that is something that has never been offered there. That's a very high paying job, and it takes not that long to get skilled up. They're also going to offer HVAC courses so that people can get licensed in that. And also the solar photovoltaic installation training. So those are all green jobs, and we're bringing those to Coachella next year. We also help with the revitalization of neighborhoods. Currently, the city is, we have a facade improvement program here along 6th Street and parts of the Cesar Chavez corridor. And so that program is underway. It's very complex in that you have to do so many things to ensure that the program is in keeping with its mission, right? So that program is underway. And then we have, we use other partner organizations to obtain data so that we can analyze it and kind of take a pulse on our economy and just our people in the city, because we do like to know how people are doing health-wise. And so we partner with, I forget this one organization's name, but anyway, and they provide a lot of health data to us. And so, and then I have other people also provided, other partners, and we promote the community. We advocate for businesses. We try to get the Greater Coachella Valley Chamber of Commerce to help us with that, even the Economic Development Agency with the county to assist with workshops and seminars so that people, again, gain capacity and training in fields that they've expressed interest in. And here's another fun wordle to describe the Economic Development Director or the department. We're a convener, we establish connections, we're persistent, we're engaging, you know, we're patient, because let me tell you, in this role, you have to be very patient. Things do not happen overnight. They take years to achieve and implement. And so, yeah, so that's one thing that I want to convey to everyone is that we have to be patient because growth and change is coming to Coachella. It's just going to take a little time if we want it done right. Core activities, so here, you know, we, in economic development, we focus on marketing and business recruitment, neighborhood development, small business development, business retention and expansion, strategic planning, workforce development, revitalization, creating networks and partnerships, fostering entrepreneurship, and providing connections to access to capital. Ways and means. So one of the things that I have to tell people about whenever they're thinking of relocating here or even just interested in the city of Coachella, we have to talk to them about any finance and incentives that are available out there, marketing, navigating the systems. We provide a business climate, a pulse on our business climate. We talk about partnerships, networks, and connections, technical assistance that is available, and analysis and planning. All of these elements have to come together for people. It's imperative that everyone is aware of all of these processes because otherwise you will not be successful. So some keys to success for the economic development program here at the city. So number one, an economic development strategic plan that has a widely accepted vision in addition to measurable indicators of success and failure. The city of Coachella does have a strategic plan for economic development. It's a little old, but we are in the process of actually renewing it and creating like a new vision and plan for it. Number two, a strong understanding of the local economy, its strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So the famous SWOT analysis. Number three, programs that are built on local comparative advantages. Number four, local leadership that stimulates cooperation and collaboration among different actors in the community. So the city of Coachella cannot do all of this alone. We have to partner with various organizations in order to get things done. It doesn't, you don't work in silos. You have to work with other, you know, nonprofit organizations, our school education systems, sustain funding for economic development over a long period of time. So that's one thing I've done very well for economic development is actually provide a very robust funding stream. So all of the grants that we've secured have embedded in them economic development strategies. I've got workforce training and development. I have, you know, rooftop solar programs to help people like save money on their energy costs. I have affordable housing coming for seniors, you know, I mean, just a myriad of things, right? It's amazing. And so we've been very, very fortunate to be able to secure these grants. We strive for excellence in customer service, and we try to be professional economic developers. As you can see, I do my best to be as professional as possible because we want to have people believe in us. And so you will never see me lose my cool. Yes, I do have robust conversations with people, but you know, it is important to remain approachable and professional because we want people to know that Coachella is ready for business. Coachella is ready for development. We're ready for growth and change, and we want to be the best we can be. So key players in this next slide, we have some key players, and I know this seems like the usual suspects, but but they're very important actually. So we work very closely with local, state, and federal government agencies. So the state of California, we have some really, really solid partnerships in state of California agencies. Federal, we're working on. We have some grant initiatives that we've submitted for, and so we're hoping that our federal friends will fund us. And our chamber and business associations. So we have the Greater Coachella Valley Chamber of Commerce. We've got workforce development organizations like the Riverside County Economic Development Agency and the SBDC, which stands for the Small Business Development Corporation. We have educational institutions like schools, colleges, research entities, et cetera. So like CV Unified, College of the Desert, UC Riverside, utilities and special authorities, labor leaders, business entrepreneurs and developers, philanthropic organizations, community nonprofits, neighborhood groups, and then public-private partnerships. And government resources. So we have, for us, you know, we have federal, state, and local. And I think I explained just very briefly, you know, what federal state mean. So they're basically, there's federal agencies that operate probably most likely out of Washington DC. And so those are the federal partners. And then we have like the state partners that are here interstate of California. And then local that is referring to like tax increment financing, incentives, but also other agencies that are here local to us, like Coachella Valley Association of Governments, Riverside County Transportation Commission, you know, those folk that we work very closely with. I'd say they're considered kind of local. And then here we go again with just the different types of economic development organizations that exist out there. So we have state and local governments, chambers of commerce, port authorities, which, I mean, you could say we have dry port authorities here with the airport that is not in our city, but nearby. Development authorities, empowerment zones, and enterprise communities. The city does have 4 opportunity zones, and I'll define that later. Business incubators, accelerators, and research parks. The city did participate in two incubators and 1 accelerator program in years past. They were focused on energy, and so we did that work in 2018, I think it was. State enterprise zones, business improvement districts, community development banks, public-private partnerships, local redevelopment corporations. In the absence of the redevelopment agency, we have the county, who is our successor agency for the redevelopment agency, and I'll explain that later. And then we work on fostering partnerships. You know, it's very important to have partnerships. If you don't create partnerships, it becomes very difficult to get any work done. So every grant that I've prepared and written, I've asked people to join us. You know, so the TCC grant that I mentioned, I have 12 partners. The Community Resilience Center grant that I also submitted has like, again, 12 different partners, 6 that are funded, the rest are just people that are going to infuse our CRC with services. So it really takes a village to make things happen. And we're just so happy that people want to partner with us, you know, because I think it's kind of new, you know. And then here are some current economic development strategies that fundamentally support Coachella's economic prosperity. So we do manage affordable housing programs in my department, cash assistance. We had Mission Asset Fund distribute basically almost $2 million to 140 households in the city of Coachella, you know, because they were left out during the COVID pandemic. These are families that did not receive assistance. So we did do that. That program just concluded last month, actually. We provide small business assistance, workforce training opportunities and green jobs, grants, community-based grants, special projects, economic development. I run the economic development and planning subcommittee with Mr. Gabriel Perez, who's sitting over here. We have the Cultural and Arts Commission, which that's something that I'll bring back at some point to get your participation in some programming that is coming forward for our youth. And then weatherization. So we have the home enhancement program that we're running right now. We're working on a broadband master plan, clean transportation, ride sharing, and electric mobility options, water conservation programs. We have the facade improvement program, and then we do business license and short-term vacation rental program. And then here's some fun pictures of projects that have been funded with grants. We have our CRC, which is on the corner up at on the far right, or far upper right. And then we have Covalda coming in the middle. And then we have Pueblo Viejo Villas, which brought in a transit hub, and then 108 units of affordable housing, or I think it was 105 actually. And then we have the expansion of Rancho Las Flores Park, the tot lot that's coming in, and then the library annex. These are just little renderings. We'll see what they end up. Although Pueblo Viejo Villas does look like that on the far upper left-hand corner. Any questions? Thank you so much. This concludes my presentation, but if you have any questions, please let me know. Feel free to reach out with any other comments or questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we do have one other department presenting to you this evening. If I can ask Gabriel Perez to come up, he's going to represent Development Services, and he is the Development Services Director. I think we have his presentation, right, Jason? Thank you.
Hello, Commission. How are you doing?
Good, you?
Good, good. My name is Gabriel Perez. I'm your Development Service Director for the city. And I'm really happy to be here. I'm glad to see you in the positions that you are in. Everyone's CB High School or other schools?
We do have Nova and Shadow Hills
Okay,
in addition to CB.
okay, very cool, very cool. If you have questions along the way, let me know. I want to see if there's things that are interesting for you to know about from me. I'm going to focus mainly on things that I have a lot of knowledge about, which is mainly planning, but I'm going to go into my department a bit. So I don't know if any of you have ever heard of a development services department. I know when I was in high school, I had no idea. And actually didn't know about the field that I went into until I got into college, right? So I'm going to go into that a little bit. So development services department, it is one department in the city of Coachella. We have planning. Again, I didn't know what planning was until I went into college. The other is cannabis division. And so we do allow cannabis businesses in the city. Then the other is code enforcement. And then the last is the building division. So building and safety. So if you're building something at your home, you have to get a permit for it. But I'm going to go briefly over compliance. So code enforcement, have you ever heard of code enforcement by a show of hands before? Yeah. Okay, some of you have. So code enforcement is kind of the folks that we have at the city that try to make sure that the rules that we have in place to ensure a quality of life in all of our neighborhoods is being implemented, right? So there's different things, rules that we have on the book, like you probably can't have a horse on a typical single family lot in your backyard, right? There are certain places for that. So if someone parks a car like on their front lawn, there's probably an issue with that. So they take care of code enforcement to make sure that all the residents comply with the rules that we have in the city. They take care of abandoned vehicle abatement, special events. So sorry you have to look back for this, but I do have a lot of pictures. Animal control. So when there's stray dogs in the streets, they're the ones to call to make sure those are addressed. Graffiti, to make sure. So if you ever see graffiti, there's a number to call to take care of those issues. And then we also have the building division. So we have a building official that is responsible to make sure like all buildings are safe, people are getting their permits, so that we're really close to the San Andreas Fault here on the north of the 10 freeway. So we want to make sure our buildings are safe every day, but also if there's like a big emergency like an earthquake. We have our cannabis division. So we actually have a lot of different businesses in the city, 24 total. Everything from retail to distribution and cultivation. And the reason why the city established a program for cannabis has to do with revenue coming into the city. So bringing in a lot of revenue to the city is really difficult sometimes compared to other cities in Coachella Valley. Like we don't have a big regional commercial center like Highway 111 where you have the Walmart, the Costco's, the same thing that you have over there in Rancho Mirage, Palm Desert off the 10 freeway. So we don't get a lot of that revenue to be able to pay for all the services that we have. So some of the revenue does come from cannabis. And we try to make sure those projects are complying with our rules for cannabis, right? There are rules to make sure that they comply with that. I'm going to go into what I was trained in and learned which is planning. And a lot of this is pictures. So when I was in high school, I graduated and then started to go to UCLA to do engineering. I didn't like it, right? So when I was in college, I realized like, this is not for me. And I talked to a counselor who was explaining what planning was, right? I knew I wanted to do something that was more community oriented and community based. And someone talked to me about planning and they said, this is something that you can do that makes a difference in the community and they kind of knew what I was about. And so they explained this and that's why I got into planning. So I've been doing this for a while. Like I first started working in the city in 2004. And then I left to work for 3 other cities before I came back again. So there's a lot of different things that we work on in the built environment, the way that Coachella is built out, like all the commercial, industrial, residential development in the city, that comes through planning, right? So um, one, we look at the past, right? So these are some pictures of Coachella when it first started, right? So before 1946, going all the way back to the 1900s, like the city was called Woodspur, then it changed its name to Coachella. This is an original map from 1929. It's called a Sanborn map, but it shows you where Coachella started, which is this area that you're sitting in right now, right? Coachella was built around the railroad. Those are some of the original buildings. So we actually had a rail station in the city. So where it's marked #1, and you see at the top, in the middle, that was the first Masonic lodge in Coachella. You probably see it's like under construction. It has all its walls like blown out, and it's going to be rehabilitated. And then the one below is used to be the bank. All that was on 6th Street. 6th Street actually used to be called Main Street in Coachella. And so a lot of these old buildings we are trying to work to bring back, or the rail station isn't there anymore, got demolished in the 70s. So that's what 6th Street used to look like. There used to be a movie theater, pool halls, bars, markets, and restaurants. A lot of those don't exist today. On the south side of 6th Street, there actually used to be a hotel. It was called the Date Palm Hotel. And we actually don't have a hotel in the city today. So we actually did have one at one point. This is back in the 1920s. And so downtown Coachella still kind of has the pattern as it was proposed a long time ago in the 1920s. And then that pattern kind of changed. So we got away from that pattern of like walkable streets and went into like these curvy streets, and it's hard to access one neighborhood from another. And so everything became more auto oriented the more that we got away from the horse and buggy. So if you go out here in the front of City Hall, you'll see a trough for horses, because there used to be, that's how people used to get around in the early 1900s. So one thing we're trying to do right now is get away from this look in the city where you just have a wall against the sidewalk, and trying to do more things with nice landscapes. But I'm probably missing a picture that went along with that. Probably about 20, maybe about 18 years ago, we worked on a plan for downtown. We're like, hey, we got to focus resources on making the downtown a nice environment. There was a lot of investment that went into the downtown that you can see today. Keeping the old streets as they were from a long time ago. But the city's put a lot of investment with the library and some of the projects that Selena was talking about. There was a need to bring investment back here. Like there wasn't a lot of stuff to do in the downtown. I remember when I first started here. A lot of transit-oriented development. Selena was showing some pictures of this. So bringing in some more higher density housing to the downtown, kind of like what you would see in other cities. We had the transit hub that was built. If you've seen that, that's where the Sunline comes in. We didn't have a transit hub like that before, so that's what it looks like today. That was done through grant funding that Selena was able to work on. Some new projects that are coming in. So you probably see this project going up right now. But that used to be the site of an old packing house called Covalda. So that's why that project's going to have that name. We are working on a rail station feasibility study right now. We want to bring back a rail station so that you can connect from Coachella all the way to Union Station, LA. So you connect either to Riverside, to Anaheim, or end up in LA. There's a lot of planning that goes into that. That project is probably 10 years away. But maybe when you guys are all done with college, that project will be in place, right? Or maybe you're helping to implement that if you're going to take over the work that I'm doing someday. That's what the rail station used to look like in the early 1900s. And there's an image from the newspaper where it was going to be torn down. We're trying to do a lot more with trees. Obviously, trees have a big role to play in making sure Coachella is cool. You saw how hot it was this summer, and a big way to make it cooler in cities. The cities that are do a good job with this are planting a lot of trees. So this is what downtown Coachella used to look like in 2010, before the city was putting a lot of investment in. This is during construction, and then this is what it looks like now. So you can see all the trees that were in there. See how there's less trees, more trees. So definitely a better place to walk in. Pyramid Ranch, one of the new developments coming in is that we're trying to do more with trees. So you'll see a different way that these neighborhoods are coming in to make sure that you have shaded walkways. We're also trying to do more stuff around the local food system. Something, if you look at the demographics for Coachella, a lot of residents have to pay a lot of their income into paying for homes, right? So if you're in a home or you rent, over 50% of the income goes to pay for the home, right? That's really high compared to a lot of the other cities. So that means there's a lot less available disposable income or money to pay for like good food, right? Um, Also, why it's important for you all to hopefully go to college one day is that Coachella has one of the lowest rates of uh, folks with a bachelor's degree, right? So it's in that level of 0 to 4%. When you compare it to the rest of the Coachella Valley, it's the lowest, right? So that's why it's really important that you be our future leaders and get the education so that you can you can make those continued investments in the city. And this gives you an idea how much a family of four right now pays into housing, and then really how much would be left over for groceries, which is a small amount. I'll pass through here real quick. So Selena was talking about this community resilience center. We purchased the packing house on the other side of the railroad. And this is a project that we're looking to bring forward, and hopefully this is done sometime probably when you all are in college or community college or working. So we're looking to bring a big regenerative garden outside of the the center, but also inside would be a food hub, but also a co-working space. So if you wanted a space where you can work with other people, like other friends, it would be a space where you'd be able to do that. So that's what it's going to look like. Um, So that's about it. Just wanted to give you an idea of some of the stuff that we do and projects that we're working on, but also want to see if you guys had any questions at all. But I'll be around if there are. So hopefully that didn't take too long. That's my contact. If you ever want to contact me, if you ever want to intern for the planning division or development services, we're always looking for that. So be good to have any of you someday.
Thank you. All right. Next subject is the holiday parade survey results.
Good evening, commissioners. Second. So what we want to discuss quickly is just the results from the survey that we had done at the holiday tree lighting, or holiday parade, I should say. A special shout out to Commissioner Mesa, Commissioner Fausto, and Commissioner Mendez for participating and facilitating that survey proctoring. That was really good. Thank you so much. Let's go to the next slide. So quickly, going through the questions that we had, which project do you recommend we focus on to advance the youth opportunities? So the number one choice that was selected by the participants was the Safe Space Campaign, which was there indicated with the 60 votes total. That's the number one choice. Number two would be the traffic enforcement. And number three would be the adaptive recreation opportunities, for disabilities. Next slide. Second question, which project goal is most important to you? Being consistent with the first question, it was to create an inclusive environment for youth. So number one. And then lastly, which aspect of the project would you like to prioritize? it would be community awareness being the number one choice selected. And that concludes the holiday results.
Thank you. Number 4, the commission project discussion.
So continuing on from from the survey results, this was mainly just to have a conversation with the commission as to, would you like us to proceed based on the results with the Safe Space campaign?
Would like to motion that. Any seconds?
Before that, could we expand on what, the the SAFE campaign, entails? Like, what exactly are some activities that we would do to, move towards that campaign and advance that?
Yeah, I was hoping that the commission would have any ideas as first, being that that was kind of being led by the commission.
So at first we could start with workshops, like little event workshops, like from the side that we have people talking to each other, interacting with each other, and then later we can start to create events that we have people come, like, and they feel like it's pretty much just like a safe space for people in the LGBTQ community or the youth, so that they start to feel less separated from society, and they meet people with the same interests, or so yeah, so they could become a stronger community.
So is it a focus on LGBT individuals, or
It's
because the LGBT individuals have their own community? I believe somewhere within this downtown, they have their own center.
yes, but those things are like very, oh, it's there, but they're not really encouraged into the youth. Because in my own experience of talking to people from the LGBTQ community, they feel very strongly about making the city, like the city itself, work on inclusivity or encouraging inclusivity, because those things are like, I don't know, but I think those things are outside of the city.
I am unaware. You said that there are communities here, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Are there events to like boost?
To my knowledge, because I'm in our school's GSA, we do have a lot of community-oriented events. So, I mean, I would never discourage the more amount of communities, but to say there is a lack of, I wouldn't say so.
Then we can utilize, like, we will do LGBTQ, but we will also expand it. Is there any ideas of how we can expand a safe place?
Well, hmm. The way that we could expand it is so we could also include people with minor disabilities, like ADHD, dyslexia, those things, because those people are also marginalized groups. They're also groups that are often taken taken for granted or separated from society, since growing up they've been put into special ed classes, but at the end of the day they look like us, they act like us, they are like us.
I feel like as for the LGBTQ communities, like we should focus on those, because those already have their own communities, right?
Mhm.
Those already have their own like clubs and organizations, right?
Yes.
So why don't we try and focus on like that? Like, why don't we try and find out if it's possible for them to like strengthen their own area, and then with this Safe Space campaign, why don't we try and look in general, like just include people with communities and people with right, people who identify that way. But why don't we try and include like everyone, just everyone, like, so people don't feel like, oh, that's just something for like, people with disabilities. People who identify as different gender, sex, they already have their own communities like in schools, such as the GSA club and things like that. And I feel like something like this should be more general, and not just focus more on it. Right. So.
Does everyone have any more comments?
An idea that I can think of right now. Since there is about a 4% like bachelor's in this city, as in what I've seen from the presentation, what if we also create in the safe space, we also like include students to, maybe they need a little bit of help, like tutoring. Is there events that I'm aware of that are of tutoring?
Like a study hall?
Yes.
Mm.
Is there promotions for tutoring in the city?
I think that would probably be something that's more focused through the school district. We do have programming through the library that may provide some of that augmentation, but I think Commissioner Valido had a comment on that.
My school, Nova Academy, we actually have a study hall this whole week. And last week actually, because our finals week is gonna start tomorrow for all the way to this Friday. So I feel like we should try and find a way to encourage more schools throughout the Coachella Valley to have a study hall for like at least the week of finals or the week before finals week.
And I think it would be like an amazing idea. So all our there's several schools in this city and our neighboring cities, but we could still create an event where all cities, like all the students from different schools, can come along together and help each other. Well, we can we can include other schools, like you said that your school has a study hall, and my school unfortunately doesn't have so much of a study hall, but if we did, like if the city were to hold something, we can include all schools and we could all help each other. It's an idea.
So I have something pertaining to this topic. So for the past month or so, I've been working on creating an organization myself. I call it Attentions to Communications, and it's basically an inclusion act for people with minor disabilities. And I was thinking, like, I had a epiphany, like what if we like include people with that are in the LGBTQ community. And I pitched this idea to the principal at my school CV and to the student ambassadors and to the SPED director. Basically, just ran around pitching my idea to everyone, and they all agreed it's actually going to happen in my school. And I was thinking that maybe we could make it broader. Maybe we could make it a city thing that schools like Shadow Hills or Nova Academy, they also have organizations like that, and we could include like an academics aspect to it. Like, oh, if you go to this event, you're going to have the books there necessary to like to do your workshops or study halls, or you might get extra credit for attending things like that to encourage like inclusion and to encourage like more like and the next level of an academy as in students wise, like a community strengthening program. Um,
I feel like I see where you're going with that, but I feel like we should try and not merge tutoring and communities that offer support for everybody, because I feel like that is something that might be confused with some people. Like I feel like some people might not want tutoring that's also how do I explain this? Like what if some people want to go to like what if some people want to join an organization that only focuses on you feeling like you belong, right?
mm,
But I feel like we shouldn't try and mix tutoring with that. I feel like that would be I feel like that wouldn't really be necessary because a lot of schools already do have tutoring, such as my school. Like we already have tutoring, we already have study hall, and there have been clubs in the past that such as GSA club that also focus on other things like that, but on the side, like that's something separate.
so you're saying to make two projects.
No, not necessarily a project. I feel like like things like a study hall aren't really like a club that you join. Study halls are usually something that happen during school hours. These are things where like teachers themselves during school hours enforce during class. Like it's kind of like a period where you just study all day, like based on the classes that you need to focus on, that you know that you're struggling with. And as for the organizations that focus more on inclusivity, I feel like those are something separate. So by that I mean like keeping those as like just clubs and organizations that everybody has the option to join, because some people, like I mentioned earlier, might be looking for tutoring, but they might not be looking for other things such as things that a GSA club or other organizations like that might have.
So what would you request?
Can I offer some suggestions? Because I know that when this, so the survey, just going back, right? The survey that was done during the holiday parade was really a request of the commission. And if I recall correctly, the initial um, thoughts behind the comment and the mission that was identified around inclusivity was around recreation. Because just to bring everyone back again, so this is, you guys are all representatives of Coachella Youth. And Coachella Youth, not specifically specific to any one high school, but to the youth that live in Coachella. Because all of your schools also have, as you guys have spent some time dialoguing, your own programming that are specific to your individual schools. And this is a little bit of a broader umbrella that that you guys are discussing with regards to providing to all of the youth that live in Coachella, regardless of what school they go to. One thought that we can bring back is some options recreationally that would promote the inclusivity. If you guys would like to bring that back to the January meeting, and we can provide you some options through Desert Recreation District and also through the center, that both are program that are agencies that provide programming to youth. We definitely partner directly with Desert Recreation District. I know in the past they have done like a social night, and maybe that would be an opportunity to provide that safe space that would be inclusive and would provide a variety of opportunities for gathering and just and joining together. That would be again free and available to all. I know that they have done that in the past. I don't think that we have it on calendar because I think some of the attendance fell down, but we could revisit that. That's something that stands out for me that might fit what I think is the dialogue that I saw on the table today. I don't know if that is of value to the commission. If so, we can bring that back in January and we can have that conversation with the representative from the Desert Recreation District.
I feel like I agree with that. I feel like we should have more events such as like a social night. Because I feel like my confusion was more like what would a safe space campaign be, like specifically, like what would it be? And if people hear, oh, the safe space campaign, like what would they expect? Like what's something that they can expect or type of event that they can expect when it comes to like being part of a safe space campaign? Like I feel like that wasn't so clear to me, like exactly like what it is.
And I think in the survey, the intent was for it to be broad so that everyone could interpret it as they felt that to be. But then the commission would take those responses back, right, based on the campaign that received the most votes, which kind of looks like that's what you all are going with, the one that was voted the highest, which is a safe space. And then you guys would interpret how you want to have that laid out for our community. So I open to suggestions, but I just wanted to bring back that I want to make sure that we're also providing some differentiating with regards to not overstepping. We are not the school district, so we are the city. So we would be providing opportunities for more of a citywide as opposed to specifically more academia, right? That would be something that usually would come through the school system itself. We definitely can augment it, but it would be I don't want to create confusion with what the schools are providing.
So, so for the city, like like how far can you go when it comes to us wanting to have, I know Alejandro mentioned that he wanted something with like all the schools coming together. Like how far can the city go with, like encouraging a school to start something?
So encouraging a school to do a programming, I think is will be challenging. That really is something that will have to come through that school because the funding will come through the school. The whoever is leading that effort through the school that is a school based. What the city is able to offer is really what we discussed initially at the last meeting, which is more recreation based, right? Because that the city provides recreational services, and the school provides the academia component of services for our youth. Um, so it can be a blend of different components. That recreation is pretty broad also, so social component would provide that opportunity. What you want that social component to incorporate into its activity for the night, that can also change. So like if I think the social was once a month, I want to say, so each month you guys could have a different focus of activity for that social.
So like when the library sometimes has like their own movie nights.
Hmm.
Oh, I see. So, how could we go about making the recreational center like part of this? Do we just like invite them and then we have a talk
So we can invite them. They can discuss what the social component options would look like that they've provided in the past and see if those are things that would be of interest to the commission. If this is a direction you want to go. If not, we're also open to other alternatives. I just wanted to provide this as an option.
So would you guys like to set up a vote
For voting for what?
to use the recreational center?
And on this is not an action item, so we don't need a vote per se. We just kind of need general consensus if this is a direction you guys would like um to to evaluate further. And I guess just for us, for staff, we would just like a little clarification if you would like us to invite both the center and the Desert Recreation District to provide some feedback on it, or just one or the other.
May we have both inform us?
We can invite both and we can report back to see if they're both available. Of course.
So is that a consensus?
I saw most heads shake. Yes. Great. So then we are moving forward in the direction, just to be clear, on the most voted for campaign, right? That is the campaign that the commission would like to proceed forward so that we can move that into a project for the commission.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you.
There is no new business. And public comments, non-agenda items. The public may address the commission on any item of interest to the public that is not on the agenda but is within the subject matter jurisdiction thereof. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. There are no public comments. Reports and requests, commissioner comments.
I did hear that on the, that on the second, presentation by city department, they mentioned about like adding more trees and more life to a certain area. I'm not really good when it comes to, art, like direction. Top Park is in Coachella, right?
I'm sorry.
Yes, it
Park
is.
in
The top lot? Yes, it's on Avenue
It is.
50.
So, in that area, it's like you see this, the suburbs on one side and then the urbs on the other side. There's no trees. It's just all blank desert. Like it was like on the picture that Mr. Perez showed on his presentation. There's a little bit of a bush, but on that area, there's absolutely nothing. I was there in the nighttime too, so it looks less appealing to the eye and feel less safe when there are no trees in that area. Also, the tot lot has like one or two trees, which is kind of like, yeah.
Yeah, it was actually also on the director Jimenez's slides. So it is one of the projects that grant funding was acquired for. So it will be in construction next year. You're welcome.
May I ask a question on here?
Yeah.
Alright. So on the last page of the holiday parade survey results, what are some examples that the commission would consider or would like to go with community awareness? Like, what are some things we can have the community be more aware of?
So, and just for clarification, so I think this question was tied with the campaign.
Yeah.
So the campaign would be, once you guys select how you're going to approach the campaign, then we would mark it so that community could be aware. That's what I understood. Community awareness would be. It wouldn't be, the community awareness is not a separate campaign. It would be the way that the community becomes engaged. What aspect of the project would you prioritize? So are you prioritizing awareness of the campaign that was voted on? Are you prioritizing collaborating with other organizations for the campaign that was selected? Or program or event execution tied to the top ranking
Yes.
project?
Near word. So that ties down to advertising, right?
I think it outreach, yes, definitely outreach.
So can we use can we use social media at our advantage for that? Or would it be more like we're walking around with pamphlets, maybe like again like we did in the
I think
like-
we need to define the campaign first. So if we can really hone in on what that project is that the commission wants to do and execute, then we can discuss how to outreach that. Messaging needs to come after a fully defined and identified project.
To answer your question, Commissioner Cobos, yes, social media would be an outlet that we would use to go with that community awareness. But as Maritza did mention, once we identify what the project is and we get that solidified, then we could go ahead and proceed with making the community aware of what that is.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there any other comments? I adjourn this meeting at 5:31 PM.
Like to make a motion?
I have a first motion. Is that what?
We're good.
what you're- Yeah, I just have to adjourn it. Yeah. All right, thank you all.